Hey, good morning. So today we're going to talk about where Windows hides your files. If you want to do a backup, if you're just wondering where they're at, or if you need to transfer them from an old hard drive, let's say, all of this will be explained as quickly as possible and straight to the point. So let's get started. So I have a couple scenarios set up on the screen. This is a laptop that I've got hooked up, and we're going to talk very quickly about all of these programs here and where everything is held and a few other very important things. The very first thing you need to know is in order to back up most of this, you have to be able to see hidden files. For instance, on your C drive here, if you go to your owner file, there's no app data or application data folder. So the very first thing to start off any of this, no matter how you're doing it, is you have to show hidden files. In Windows 11, to do this, we are going to, you'll see right here on any window, you'll see right here, View. You're going to click View. Let me show you this. When we change what we're going to change, you'll see something else pop up here, a couple of folders, okay? So we're going to hit View, Show, Hidden Items. Now Windows 10, there you go. Windows 10 is very much the same way, but you still have to go into it a little differently, which I will show an image of right here. Okay, so once you have the hidden files showing, that's the most important thing to start out with. Now, let's go to this second step here. You also have to make sure that you have ownership of files. Now, if you go to your owner on your C drive and you hit app data, it goes right in. Okay, so the problem is this. If I've got an external drive, which I do here attached, and I'm going to go into your users and then owner here, watch what happens. You do not currently have permission to access this folder. I will show you how to do that. To take ownership of a file or files or folder or folders, you want to, when you see this, you're going to want to right click the folder in question, and then you're going to go to Properties. This is the same in Windows 10 or 11, Properties. Once you get to Properties, you're going to hit Security tab there, and you're going to go down here to Advanced. Then when you see this, you're going to hit Continue. You're going to say Enable Inheritance and then replace all child objects. So that means this folder and anything else in it. Then you're going to hit Apply. And then, do you want to continue? Yes. And this is actually pretty quick. If you're using a mechanical drive, it takes a lot longer. But there we go. So now when we click that file, there everything is. So what we're going to do is, now that we've got hidden files showing, and we've gotten ownership of this, let's show how it is to move these things. Now, the ownership of the file I'm not going to touch again, so we're going to only use the one folder, or the one drive going to an external hard drive. Okay? Now, if you had hooked up your old hard drive to this machine, you would see it here, and then you would follow the ownership issue like I just explained, and then you would do the following. Okay, so where does everything live? Now, so if I was going to, let's say this is my external hard drive and I want to back things up, okay, this is how we do it. I am going to, all right, there's your C drive. All right, so I'm going to go to this PC. Now, I'm going to go to my C drive, users, and owner. Okay, and then first thing we're going to do is the The ones I like to back up are these here. Basically everything but the OneDrive folder. And a couple of these here. But basically all your folders of your things, okay? That's what you want to back up. This brings over everything from your desktop, your documents, etc. Now, if you don't see something on your drive for 3 different folders, documents, pictures, or desktop, that means something different, and I'll get to that. But right here is where you want to drag everything to your external hard drive, and there it is. So you've backed everything up. So for instance, on the desktop over here, you'll see that I've got the shortcut over there, which is right here, of course. All right. So now you backed all that up. So the question now is, where do I find things that are specifically related to these files here? Okay, this is where the app data finally comes into play. So you're going to go to the app data file. All right, so we'll start in this list here. From Microsoft Edge backup, here's where we want to go. You're going to go to Local. You're going to go to Microsoft. Whoops. Okay, well, there it is. And then Edge. Now, there's a folder there called User Data. Now, the thing about this is, to point out, is that User Data here and User Data here, they name them the same way. So it's more common for me to do it for this. So for this one, I'll usually create a folder called Edge. And that is where I will put the user data folder for Edge. Okay, that's just to store it. And then if you're going to do something like put something from an old drive onto a new drive, you will just go into the old drive, find this folder the same way, and then put it on the C drive of your new computer and overwrite everything. Okay? So the next thing, let's go with Google Chrome. So we're going to go back to your main folder here. We're going to go for Google Chrome. We're going to go to App Data. Then we're going to go to Local. Then we're going to go to Google and then Chrome. And there you go. You'll see that user data is just about exactly the same as this. So this is why I created an Edge folder. So now we're going to go to user data and back this up over here. That's for Google Chrome. Okay? We just don't want to confuse the two because they're not interchangeable between Edge and Chrome. Okay? Now, Firefox. This is a really good browser because everything fits inside the user folder. That's passwords, that's history, everything. Even the data of what how you have things set up, like themes, all of that is in one folder. So that's a good thing to have. All right? That's a benefit of that, because with these other ones, you have to sign back in to get all your stuff back. Same as Microsoft Edge. You can't just move passwords unless you manually do it. Okay, so Firefox. We're going to go back to our main folder, and then we're going to go to App Data, then Roaming, and then Mozilla, and then Firefox, then Profiles. Okay, so once we're in this folder, you see two different things. You are going to look for the one that has this, default release. If you look right here under default, there's just nothing in there. Okay, so you don't want to accidentally grab that folder. You want to grab this one here that has all this stuff in it. Okay, so default release. Going to drag that one over there. So essentially, we're backing up all of the user folders for the data. Okay. Lastly, Mozilla Thunderbird. Okay, this is the email client I like to use because just like Firefox, it will allow you to move everything in one folder. I think I've had Firefox for the better point of maybe 20 years, and every time I get a new laptop or a new computer, I just drag this file to the new one and everything is back. I've got mail from forever ago still accessible. Okay, so we're going to go back to that main folder, and to get Thunderbird, you're going to want to go to the app data file, and then roaming as well, and then Thunderbird, and then Profiles, and you will see the same type of situation, the two different ones. Of course, this one, nothing in it, but the one you want to back up is this one here with your stuff in it, your mail. Okay. Now, notice how these two look the same, pretty similar. I usually try to make a folder for Thunderbird if I'm backing up both programs. I'll put like TB or something. So you want to make sure you don't accidentally mix those two things up. Okay. All right. Now, last thing here is going to be Outlook. All right. So there's a thing about Outlook. As a rule, I think Outlook is the worst mail program ever. And as a rule, I don't support it in my business. Every time they make a change, in my opinion, they screw something up, or it screws something up. And everything, like for instance with Thunderbird, everything's in its one folder with everything kind of neatly stored there. Where the the Outlook program is troublesome, because if you can't get, let's say your computer dies and you can't export everything, when you go to the file that's supposed to contain everything, it's just the mail folders and the contents of those by themselves. But at any rate, I know a lot of people use it, and this is really more leaning towards older versions. I've got an older version on this. That's because the newer versions are different. They store things differently. But if you've got an older computer or an old version of Outlook that you're using, this is one for you. So it stores everything in something called a PST folder. And again, this is one of those things where it moves. The newer ones store at different places than the older ones. So the easiest way to go is to go on your drive. Now, this is if you're backing up stuff on your C drive, you would do this the same way. Or if you're restoring stuff from an old drive, you would go to that drive and do it the same way. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the root directory of that drive and open up a search. Go type in star or asterisks .pst. Okay, and it's going to look for a PST file on that drive. Now, you might find one, or you might find five. Typically, I like to look at the date modified and the size, because if you've got some PST files that were 8 years old, and then you've got one that was accessed or modified yesterday, and it's 5 gigabytes versus the other ones that are tiny, we're obviously just going to concern ourselves with the largest version, the largest one. Now, once you have that, you can back that up to your external drive, etc. Now, if you're restoring it, I like to just take that from the old drive, put it in the Documents folder, and then use the import function of Microsoft Outlook to re-import that. Okay, so we're just going to give this a second, let it find it, because there is one on this drive. There it is. And it's only 598 megabytes. I actually just created this one just for this video. But this is where it's stored. Users, owner, app data, local, Microsoft Outlook. Now, thing about this is you don't just dump this back in there. I don't know if that would even work. I don't use Outlook enough to know. However, what I would suggest is put this on your desktop or a Documents folder, and then open up Outlook and import that. There's a way to import it. There is one last thing I want to cover I totally forgot about. Now, I'll say this real quick. Back in the day, when OneDrive was first becoming a thing, back when a Microsoft account was used on any computer to sign in, or at least they attempted to make you sign in, one day I took this folder method and I backed up somebody's items, and then I put them all back. They get home and say, oh my God, my desktop, where is all my desktop stuff? My pictures are all gone. My documents are all gone. The newer computers, okay, have one issue. You may still see a desktop file. You may see a documents file and a pictures file with, you might see that. But if there's nothing in them, you want to look here to OneDrive. In OneDrive, I don't use it here, so on OneDrive, you want to make sure that you don't have the stuff there. desktop, documents, and pictures, those three in particular. If you do, you can attempt to move those to the correct folders. If not, you have to sign back into OneDrive and try to recover them that way. That's kind of really up to you if you want to go that route. I will say also that if you are backing up a computer with the OneDrive files already there, and you're signed into that OneDrive, and you want to back those up to an external, it should let you back them up from those three folders, but you may have to go into your OneDrive folder to see those three folders' contents and then move them over. Okay? All right. Sorry about the rambling there. That's how you do it. I hope this helped you guys. And again, I'm trying to get to 1,000. That's my goal. So if you would not mind liking, subscribing especially, that would be awesome. And thinking about giving away something as a little thank you once I hit 1,000. And I'm hoping to do that in August. That's my goal. Okay. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. Bye.